It is the start of a fresh new year, and if you're like me, you're probably eager to get things started. You have the goals you want to tackle, obstacles to face, and problems to solve. It is a new year full of promise and potential, and yet it could be your best year yet if you locked in. What does it mean to lock in? It means being tapped in, being connected, being committed. It means choosing a course of action and being completely committed to it. And right there is our first condition for locking in, knowing what you want, what you are locking in for. If you have been finding it hard to lock in, to really focus and put all your energy towards something, it could be just because you haven't found or decided on something you truly and really want. But if you already have that thing in mind, then you are in the right place. Even more so if you have tried multiple times and failed. You started that diet and exercise regime this time last year, and by Friday they were long forgotten. You started all those plans for your career and business, and by the time you got to December, you found yourself miles away from your intention, mired and busy with the agendas of others. I know this well because that has been me many times. The good news about trying and failing to make things fit is that you're always trying to make something work. And that can be frustrating, but if you keep at it long enough, eventually something clicks. And then you lock in. Yeah. I bet. What is this? I don't know what this is. Welcome to my YouTube channel. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of chill, kind of talk for a bit, kind of talk like I'm having a conversation with a friend, or like the many conversations I've had with friends or with myself around different topics. And I think in this session, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this video. Maybe I'm going to make it its own thing. Maybe it's going to splice in with the other idea I have. I don't know if it's actually going to fit, but we'll see. Anyway, just wanted to do some kind of reflection about the year as it's about to start, and where my head is at, and what I'm thinking around a lot of things, or at least where my ideas are at, where my head is at around certain ideas on how to, do what we're trying to do. Succeed, create, move forward, all that good stuff. It is January, it is the beginning of the year, and it's always a perfect time to think about what you want to do, and think about how last year went, and think about what you can do better in this year, and achieve more. And I've been thinking about this idea of locking in lately, and that's what I've written about, and that's what this video is ostensibly really about. It's about the idea of locking in, about really tapping into a zone, to a space where you are just really focused. You're really tight. You know what you're doing. You know why you're doing it. You have all the pieces in place, and all you can do is just lock in and just focus and just get it done. And with that, with locking in, and especially with the beginning of the year, that also comes with a lot of resolutions and stuff you want to leave behind, stuff you want to do more of moving forward. And how we navigate that is going to determine how successful we are. And so one of the things that I like to look at, my entire approach and philosophy to it, is to try to make change as easy and seamless as possible. I mean, sure, definitely there are times when you're going to need to go all out and do a lot. You're going to need to push yourself, but in the day-to-day, I think a more gradual, chilled approach is essential. So let me try break it down. Everything in life that you want to do and achieve can be broken down to systems. Any goals you want to achieve is broken down to systems. And you got to also look at lifestyle, like literally the style of your life, the way that you live. Your day-to-day holds the seeds of your future, obviously. So if you do want to succeed, then you've got to have the lifestyle of the person who breeds success, meaning that the style of your life, the things that you do in your day-to-day have to coalesce and come together to take it to a place where you can actually succeed. So if you want to, be healthier, cook, exercise, all that stuff, you want to be strong this year, then you're going to have the lifestyle of someone who's strong, meaning that you're going to be eating a certain way, you're going to be exercising a certain way, you're going to be doing certain things, So the way I like to look at it is think about the systems that come into place. So for instance, if I wanted to get fit, get buff, get healthy, whatever, I know I have to eat healthy, I know I have to exercise. So, and I know my life and what I need to do. So the question is, when do I do what? When do I fit what into what time? And I'm burping a lot. Wow. And what usually happens is that, you start the year, you decide, okay, listen, I'm going to run 3 times a week, twice a week. And then maybe for the first 2 weeks, you actually get up and you run and you push. You're able to get by willpower. You're able to make things happen by just that sheer force of will and that excitement of the new year. But life gets in the way and things happen, and one day you're tired and before you know it, it's all gone. And so if we want to try to avoid that, we have to look at ways of systematically bringing in those things into our life, into our lifestyle. It has to be a thing that we embrace over the long term, not just a short-term thing. We have to evolve and grow and tweak ourselves into being the kind of people that we should be to achieve what we want. So that means that if we, maybe it looks different. Maybe you just start by walking, and say, twice a week, I'm not even going to run. I'm just going to get used to getting out the house, getting some fresh air, running around, walking around the neighborhood. That's an easy, simple thing to do, simple thing to bring in. And then over time, as you get used to that, you can now, have a light jog, have a light run, mess around with it, play around with it. But at the end of the day, if you can, over a year, more often than not, at least take a walk, at least be outside, you're that much closer. You've become the kind of person who goes outside more often. So beginning to layer running on top of that can become easier. Now, of course, you can just push and go for it. I'm just saying, if you want to be lazy, if you want to be relaxed about it, this is one way to do it. So those are the ways I kind of look at habits. So for even stuff like I find content so very useful to inspire and to kind of get myself in the mind frame. Monkey see, monkey do. We have neurons in our brains that fire when we see people doing things. It makes us want to do the things too. So I remember when I wanted to really get into cooking and get good at it, I stumbled across a lot of these home cooks and people on YouTube and these really, really good channels. And more than actual recipes and stuff, what it really did for me was change the way I thought about cooking. So it reframed my entire perspective around this thing. So it became like another outlet for creativity, because they were able to break it down for me in such a way that I was like, oh, listen, these are the ingredients per se, these are the different elements that make up a meal, and if you have all these 3 or 4 things in place, you can always play around with what you do with them and still make something delicious. If you learn the principles, if you learn some of the basics, then you can start. For someone like me who's a creative, who likes to mash things together, that becomes really interesting for me. I started looking at the kitchen as a second studio for me, a space where I can create. And reframing certain things in your mind, making things less scary, making things more exciting, can also help in just moving you into the kind of person that does the things that you want to do. So that's around basically systemically thinking about your habits and making them a thing. Beyond that, environment is also super, super important. You have to have your environment be the kind of place that supports the actions that you want to take and the dreams that you want to pursue. And as much as possible, you have to take control of that, no matter what the situation is. Even if it's just a room, if it's just a small space that you have, if it's just some time that you have, you need to create space that is dedicated to the things that you want to do and have that. Your entire space, if you can swing it, needs to reflect the kind of person you want to become. Having visual cues and things around you that inspire you to take action are great. I like to keep my creative tools around, so I'm always reminded to use them and make something, or just mess around, be creative. I like to keep my kettlebell near me so I can always see it and remember to use it. There's all these tools and tactics and stuff you can do, but yes, environment is such a big part. I've written about that a lot of times. The idea your environment can influence you and keep your mind state in the place that it needs to be consistently. So definitely a powerful lever to do that. And the common thread that's running through all of this is the idea of Kaizen, the idea of perpetual improvement. So, you don't have to do it all in a day. You just be 1% better every single day. And before you know it, you'll be so far ahead. You would have done so much. You always have to be in the mindset of tweaking, of making things better, of seeing a problem and fixing it so good that you solve it right from the root issue. Like, you never have that problem again. That's what successful people do. They can anticipate things, and they can put things in place so that you mitigate failure, you mitigate unnecessary stuff. So always having the eye out to improve, to make something better, to make something more seamless, to improve your workflow, to improve your life, to improve your whatever it is you're trying to do. Continual improvement. You don't have to wait for a big time. You can just do something small every day. You can change, and over time you can completely change your life. And the last thing in my mind right now around that is the idea of, I have forgotten what it is. Let me see. I've got it here in my notes. We had Kaizen, we had environment. Seasons. Yes, seasons. That's the other thing I was going to talk about. So I'm a big believer in seasons, right? Like, the way the world is, the way Earth operates, the way everything in the natural world seems to operate around seasons. There's a time for everything, and things ebb and flow. We breathe in, we breathe out. The sun rises and sets. The tides come in and go out. The seasons go, all that stuff. Even more so humans, or at least myself, right? So I'll just talk from my experience. I have seasons when I am really, really on the ball. I'm really pushing, and I'm really excited, and I have all the energy, and I'm doing everything and being super productive, creating so much stuff. And then I have seasons when there's really nothing in the tank, and I just have to, and I've learned over time and going through the seasons to take the time to rest, to chill, to just do some things for fun, to not take things too seriously. That balance is important because the one feeds the other. They both feed each other. You need to have, at least for me, you need to have that balance in place. So what I think about season in this time of locking in is because, for me, over the past couple of years, I have dabbled in many different things. And from the outside, it would look like dabbling and quitting, and you could make an argument for that. But at the same time, I've looked at all these different pieces. Like, they're all things I'm interested in, and things that I think can work together. The idea has always been trying to figure out how the pieces work together. And sometimes you try and do a thing, and then you realize that, I'm not completely ready for this yet. I still need to get this in place and get that in place and get this in place, and maybe this other thing is another priority. And so you take a step back, and then you work around, and eventually come back to it. But the idea is working on all these little components over time and trying to see how they can all come together to something great, and then doing that. That's the kind of season I think I am in. So over the past couple of years, I've streamed, I have made videos on this channel around gaming, well, just gaming VODs really. I've done a podcast, I've done another YouTube channel, I've done a lot of writing, I've done, all this little creative stuff here and there, these little platforms here and there. I've just never been one to grow an audience. And that is the focus, I guess, for me this year, is trying to really push that and grow an audience and, share my interest and share my thoughts and share the things that I know with you. So yeah, the trick has always been like, how do all these things fit? And when you're able to, like, now I have a better sense of what it takes to run a podcast or run a channel, because I've done it before. I've kind of seen where the sticking points were. And I've kind of known what I needed to do. So I've been working on, fixing those, getting the equipment I needed, getting all the stuff in place. So if I'm doing it, I'm doing it now, and I can just do it. I'm recording this right now. It's 3:49 p.m. And if I needed to wait for people or have, have a whole crew and stuff, this isn't going to get done. But I've, been able to get all these things and set it up so I can get it done at any time the inspiration strikes. And that's the way you can tackle your goal sometimes, just chipping away at it and just getting the things in place, putting yourself in a position to succeed. So when the season comes, when a time like this where everything seems to be more or less coming together in divine timing. So even with the algorithms on these platforms are such that small creators and people who are just starting out are really at an advantage, you know, and it's the perfect time to be ready to do this. And so really happy and grateful to be here. And my personal theme for the year is to live a creative life, to embrace creativity and bring more of that into my life. And which sounds weird because, you know, my day job, my business is branding, you know, branding, design, web dev, that kind of stuff. And sure, I'm creative all the time, but I'm not always creative in the ideas that interest me or the things that matter to me, or, you know, the things that I think will be cool to put out to the world. And that is what I'm trying to embrace in this year. And this YouTube channel, this video is a part of that. I've always been interested in exploring creativity and trying out different things and learning, really, because like being an artist, being a creative, being a designer, it's really a way of looking at the world, to really examine the world and see how it is and change it, work with it, do really, really cool and interesting stuff with it. And that just really, really excites me. So this is probably my official video on the channel, and I'm intending to make videos at least every month. So like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the coming videos and all that good stuff. And yeah, we can chat in the comments, man. If you have anything to say or to ask or just to holler, I'll be there. I'm really big on personal development and philosophy and ideas and creativity and all that stuff. So that's really what I'm going to talk about and make content around, shoot around. It's just going to be fun. It's just going to be fun. There's nothing else I can really say. It's just going to be fun. And I'll just say to you that whatever you're trying to get done in this year, or whenever you're watching this, it's never too late to start, never too late to become who you're supposed to be. That's one of my favorite quotes, I think, by George Eliot. I mean, you can do it, man. You can do it. I believe in you. So, you know, get to it. You know what to do. You already know what to do. Believe in yourself, you know, follow your path and get it done. And let's make some amazing, pretty cool things. I've never really been good at the idea of being seen, especially by a lot of people. So if this blows up, that's going to be super weird. But I am approaching this whole thing by just thinking that, you know what, I want to make really cool things for me and my friends, and that's really my main focus. And if anyone else likes it, that's also really pretty cool, and it will be really nice. So be nice, and we will talk soon. We'll see you soon on another video.